If you could describe Billy Joe Saunders in one quick sentence, how would you do so?
A sexy motherfucker.
I'm going to make sure he go right out the ring. And I might get on the top of the bucket or the rope and come down with a flying elbow kick. Who knows? Who knows?
Hope you get hit by a bus today, you fucking wanker.
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, great shot! Left hand, right hand from Maxwell. Well, where did that come from? I can hardly believe what I've seen. An astonishing turnaround. He gets to his feet and he stopped it. He stopped it.
And the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
Favor of Tyson Fury. And judge at ringside, Phil Edwards scores about 113 to 113. Even a draw. The decision is a split decision draw.
Ooh, how convenient.
They can say anything the fuck they want, and I don't care.
I'm the Ken man. I'm more Mexican than Andy Ruiz is. He's a coward. He's all got a no heart. Pussy.
Daniel Dibor, I am going to knock you out.
You ain't ready for me, and you never have been, you never will be. All your knockout power and 10 men in that ring on the night can't beat Tyson Fury. I'm going to make you fuck yourself.
Oh, go on, man.
Hello, MCR family. It's another daily edition of the show. I would say live on YouTube, but we're not live on YouTube because YouTube is fucking up. So we're recording and we're posting it in post. Apologies to our listeners and any of our people that watch on YouTube. I know we like doing live shows. That's kind of like our thing. And we like interacting with you guys in the live chat. Not happening here. So when we premiere this episode, me and Rob and Gary will be in the live chat with you talking shit, but we won't be doing the show. We'll just be in there premiering. Anyways, I am Matt the Hipster Hunter. Going to be a lot to talk about today's show, breaking down all the fights this last weekend. A ton of news, and unfortunately in the boxing world, a lot of bullshit happened this weekend. So we have to address it and rant about it most likely. But without further ado, let's get to the lovely co-host on MCR. And first up in the UK, Mr. Robbie Hearns. Rob, how are you, man?
All good, all good. Just so people understand what people go through. It's currently 4 a.m. and I'm here now live recording this just so it goes out at a usual time for you guys. It's unbelievable what I do for you guys, but you know, I know I'm your favorite.
Get out.
No, I'm missing. Yeah, we tried. Apparently the encoder or something wasn't being picked up by YouTube. Matt got a little testy and
I didn't even get
Gary said we were okay to record it. I didn't even want to do this, but I'm here for you. Hit that thumbs up. I like to react to the chat and stuff like that if we can. But yeah, hit that thumbs up, share the show, all that good stuff. Gary has returned from Bollocksy. I can help it. I've been saying that in our chat all day, all week. Bollocksy. But anyway, Gary.
Biloxi is a wonderful little place. You guys should go there if you ever get the chance.
Stop lying.
No, I really liked it. Shout out to the people of Biloxi and the entire Gulf Coast region, Gulf Shores. I don't even know where we're going with that.
How are you, Gary? How
the fight card, Gary?
Good.
Omar Juarez absolutely shined, looked spectacular. Ugas took care of business. Andrade took care of business, and then we got a couple of good scraps in the undercards of the Andrade fight in Miami,
and the Ugas card.
And the Ugas card. That's true. We'll get into that. But no, it's been a while, and I'm glad to be back. I'm glad we have a show today, and I'm glad Rob's here. Rob, way to be a team player. We could have canceled this show and done something, but it's Mamba mentality. Kobe would have done a show.
Kobe.
He would have done a great show. He would have dropped 42 in whatever that would equate to in doing a show.
And one assist.
Yeah, you know, and Gary, whilst in Bollocksy, he met up with Thurman, right? So we'll talk about Thurman and a different kind of, I guess, Mamba mentality. Like, I don't know, but yeah, we'll talk about that as well.
Food eating contests are definitely Mamba mentality. Let's get to the Andrade Keeler card because that was the first one chronologically of the weekend. And honestly, there's only 2 cards that were televised in the U.S. that we can really talk about. I already sort of broke down this card in depth on my own, so I really want to get your guys' thoughts on this. And really, where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start with kind of the bullshit fights, a la the top 2 fights, or the really good undercard fights, a la Dan Roman, Mirjadon Akhmadiliev, or do you know, where do you guys want to start here? Because I already ranted in front of
This is gonna make Matt happy, I think. I didn't watch the YouTube fight because I missed the fights live, so I just flew in and then I watched it on the zone, you know. And I after I watched the Farmer fight, I'm like, I don't want to watch this YouTube fight, so I just skipped it. Which is the beauty of being able to stream things. Like I just didn't watch it, you know. And I went straight to the Andrade fight. So I don't know what happened. I know Paul knocked him out in the second round, but I didn't see any of it.
It doesn't matter.
I don't even remember what Paul brother it was, to tell you the truth. Was it Logan or Jake?
Rue.
Jake.
It was Rue Paul, I think.
That was a good joke, Rob. I'm with my eye right now, but that was really good, Rob.
By the way, Leonard just asked, are we doing Blog Talk right now?
No, we can do Skype. So if you want, put a big bat signal out saying that we will do Skype. I'll put that up right
now. Okay. So yeah, you didn't watch the YouTube fight. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
My boy Emma Williams take care of business. What else was on there? There was a couple of prospects.
Otha Jones, Amanda Serrano.
Yeah.
Anthony Sims Jr. getting his first.
Oh, yeah.
We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that.
Do you guys think he won, or do you think the judges got it right? I mean, I had a.
No, he lost. He lost.
You thought he lost?
He didn't do anything. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not of the really pet mindset that you can not throw a punch an entire round and win the round. That's just not how boxing works. I'm sorry. You have to throw
what if he faint really good? Maybe he fainted really good. Like it was such a good feint, it made him think he was going to get hit. I don't know. Yeah.
Until my grandfather died, right? He swears that Willie won a round without throwing a punch. And like, you saw it. He's like, yeah, I listened to it on the radio. I'm like, come on.
How'd you know? Because I listened to it on the radio. Love it. But yeah, that was upset. Yeah, I don't know. Time to shine, but you just like you gotta throw punches. You gotta.
Are we getting a Josh Kelly vibe from Anthony Sims Jr. here?
Even that fight, even worse, man.
It wasn't good, bro. Like I thought he won the fight, and it wasn't good. Like there was just, I don't know, there was no pep in his step. There was no, like, it was bad. Like it was just so lethargic and so unmotivated. It's like, and there was no more gears. You know, like his trainer was telling him in the 5th round, "Oh, you have to knock him out," like trying to get him to pick up the pace a little bit. And there was just nothing there. Like he tried to pick it up a little bit, and then he just started eating a bunch of shots. It's like, and I had this guy as one of my prospects. I had him in my top. I think I had him at 15 in my top 15. Like I'm like, this guy's good, and it's like that was awful. This is why Matt's right. You don't put prospects in your top 15 because they might do that to you.
Yeah, I mean,
it happens.
I mean, Eddie was interviewed and asked about it. He said like there was no like aggression. You know, there was no. I'm going to get this guy out of here, or I'm going to. You know, I don't know. It's just a strange performance for me. I don't know if there was a hand injury that he kept quiet, that he just didn't want to throw the right hand or something. I don't know. It just seemed odd. It was an odd performance.
I did see a headline from him talking about. I didn't read it because I didn't really care, to be honest. But he alluded to the fact that he wanted to, like, he was close to like amputating his finger to like keep going in the fight. So I'm assuming there was a hand injury or something.
Right.
Alluding to, but regardless, like let's say you injure your left hand or your right hand, you have one other hand to throw, and you didn't throw any hands. You didn't throw a jab, you didn't throw like a right, counter. You didn't throw any real shots in any of these rounds. And when he did, it was maybe a single shot, but more than that, it was range finding shots. He never threw anything with any commitment, any real velocity, and he never threw in combination. You can't win a fight by doing that. Like that's just not how boxing works.
No, I think I had like Angulo by about 3 rounds. I think something like that, quite easily.
Okay,
that's how I felt. But
I thought it was one.
I like Anthony Sims a lot. He's from LA. I think he's a smart guy. I interviewed him. I think he's a very, very good person for this sport, good prospect. And I think he's talented. There's a reason why I compared him to Josh Kelly. I don't think these guys are not good prospects. I think there is a lack of game planning. There's a lack of, or maybe not lack of, maybe they just are stagnating to a degree wherever they are, wherever their gym is, wherever their environment is. They're stagnating as a person or a fighter, and they need a new environment. I think Andrade is sort of, the main event fighter on this card, a similar guy to that way of a guy that stagnated for a large portion of his career. And I think in this fight, he tried to improve in the main event. So we're going to get to that later. But, I think Anthony Sims is talented. He just needs to look at this fight and say, yeah, I didn't have any fire. I didn't have X, Y, Z. I'm going to work on X, Y, and Z for the next 6 months. And that's it. That's all I'm going to work on. And guess what? This trainer or that sparring partner, that wasn't working out for us. So we're switching it up. This girlfriend and me were for fighting the whole time. Guess what? We're breaking up. You're moving out. I'm getting a new girlfriend. Things are switching up. I think sometimes fighters have to do that. And I think Anthony Sims probably needs to start having those inner conversations with himself right now.
Yeah, that's like a couple now where it hasn't. I don't know. He's I think failed to flatter, if you know what I mean. Or to look as good as we think maybe he could be. But yeah, strange performance. Obviously, haven't seen it, but apart from a fan's clip, but Ofer Jones with the, I think, second round stoppage moved on. But yeah, strange that we didn't get some of these fights. Usually they're either streamed on the YouTube channel or but yeah, haven't seen those. We did post the Amanda Serrano fight, but it wasn't actually on the telecast, I don't think.
Oh, it was.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
It wasn't live. It was not tape delay, but it was pre-taped, obviously, and they put it on.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, that's what I mean. It just wasn't like usual. They seem to show the card from sort of start to finish, right? Like kind of, if not, on the YouTube channel first. But yeah, my thoughts on, where did you start with, Gary? You wanted to talk first?
No, you guys start wherever you want. I didn't.
Well, let's start on the Daniel Roman fight against Mirzadon Akhmadaliev.
Great fight.
First off, I was wrong. I think you two, right? You both.
Yeah, me and Gary.
Akhmadaliev.
Touch me. No, other one. Touch me.
Sad day for the world.
We've just got a good eye for this kind of thing, right, Gary?
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Akhmadaliev is a guy that if you can really start putting combinations on him and have sustained work, he can be beat. He works in spots. He's a guy that's working in bursts of energy, bursts of combinations, and then has long periods of inactivity within rounds. And that's how Roman definitely got back into the fight in the mid-round, started working for the body a lot. But Akhmadaliev, God, that power, the speed, just over the athleticism of his
footwork.
His footwork was great too. And I think he just realized, I'm not going to respect Daniel Roman. I'm not going to give him any respect. I'm not going to give him any edge here. I'm going to walk him down. I'm going to throw my hardest fucking shots all night. And he had a hell of a gas tank to back that up. So, guys, thoughts on Akhmadaliev and Roman?
Yeah, it was a great fight. Really enjoyed it. I don't know. What is he like? Unified champion? Was it 7 fights now? Is that 7 fights? Isn't his 7th fight? Something like that.
Yeah.
Heroes welcome, returning to Uzbekistan. Much deserved. I had it. I think by a couple of rounds, something like that. To Akhmadaliev. I thought Danny Roman did come on in the second half of the fight, but kind of playing catch up constantly, if you know what I mean. So yeah, really good fight. I feel for Danny Roman. I think he's like a good guy. He was a unified champ. Apparently he got a lot of criticism for taking this fight, but he's a champion. He faced his mandatory, and people saying like maybe he could have vacated this one and not had to, but champion's not going to shy away from the challenge, and maybe he felt this guy's 7-0. I'm gonna, it's not an issue. I'm good enough. I'm a champion. So a shout out to him. But yeah, great performance. A bit interesting, the division going forward. But yeah, I just thought it was a really good fight. As we expected and hoped for from obviously this card and other things that were on offer. But this didn't fail to deliver.
Agreed. And Gary, before I jump to you, remember, guys, when you're not talking, please mute yourself because this system right now is trash. So Gary, thoughts on Akhmadaliev beating Daniel Rahman, and now is he the best super bantamweight on the planet now? Like, can we anoint him as an 8-0 unified champion? You're the best guy at 122 over Emmanuel Navarrete, Ray Vargas, and others.
He's got the best individual win. Okay. Would anyone here pick him to beat? I mean, we all think the judges got it right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But I will say this. I have no issue with people having a Daniel Rahman scorecard. I don't have an issue with that. If you have a 7-5 Daniel Rahman, I really don't have an issue with that. I don't think it's right, but I don't have an issue with that. But I thought Akhmadaliev won.
I think
that would be a robbery, Derevchenko style.
No,
because Derevchenko won all the rounds in that fight.
All the rounds, every round,
even the one he got knocked down in. I wouldn't pick him to beat Navarrete. Now he's got a better individual win than that. I don't think so. I mean, look, my thoughts on this were a lot like after Vazdik lost to Beterbiev, or whatever we want to call him this week. Like I thought Vazdik did what he had to do. Like I thought Rahman fought the way he was supposed to fight. He just can't beat him. Like Akhmadaliev is better. Like if they had a rematch, I don't know what Rahman would adjust to fight differently. You know what I'm saying? Like he'd have to box, but he can't keep him off him. The aggression and the accuracy and the athleticism of Akhmadaliev is really good. Like he's not just a pressure guy. I mean, he is, but there's a lot of skills behind that pressure. Like he does a lot of things really well. I don't think Rahman can do anything much differently to beat him the next time.
What about the X factors of the shoulder surgery, the layoff, and this being his first fight back from that?
Maybe that. Okay, you're going to say he was his shoulder. Maybe he should have taken a tune-up fight or something in the interim to get sharp. Maybe. I mean but that was a really good performance by Akhmadaliev, and it's going to be real difficult. Like Rahman would need to do something completely different, unless maybe he just needs to be sharper. Maybe he should go in, not take an immediate rematch. Did he have a rematch clause? He did, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I thought so. Maybe he shouldn't exercise because he'll get that in a small weight class. It was a good fight. They'll make it again, right? I mean, maybe take a tune-up fight first, sharpen some things out, make sure the shoulder's good, and then go into a rematch. A year from now, 10 months from now, whatever. But I don't think he should go right into it because I mean, either he's not sharp enough, which is understandable, or he can't beat him as currently constituted, right? He can't beat him like this. So either he needs to change something or he needs to get sharper.
No, I largely agree with you, Gary. Rob?
Yeah, I was just going to say the injury and the surgery and the layoff was part of me leaning towards Akhmadaliev in the first place for my pick because I just felt shoulders are tricky, right? They're not something that can be rushed or can't be. Ask George Groves. He tried to come back from shoulder surgery and it just wasn't there. Felt we rushed it.
I had shoulder surgery from high school football. I tried coming back after a year of rehab, and that was still maybe a little bit too soon. Shit's weird. Shoulders are weird.
Yeah, and obviously in boxing they're kind of important, right? So I just felt that might play a part. Whether it did or it didn't, I don't know. Only Danny Roman knows how he felt and whether it was an issue or whether he was just legitimately beaten by a guy that's got his number. Maybe it's just how it is. Only that he knows and his camp knows, I guess. But for me, that was a legitimate reason to lean towards Akhmadaliev. Plus, obviously, what Akhmadaliev brought to the table. But yeah, really good fight as we hoped, and the start of the Uzbekistan invasion, I think, at some point.
There are a lot of good Uzbek prospects out there, man. Don't be surprised if they all of a sudden come crashing into the market in the industry.
Next.
Guys, any other thoughts on Rahman Akhmadaliev? If you guys want to jump to Tevin Farmer, Joseph Diaz.
Yeah, go to Tevin.
A fight that I was so close to leaning this way. And I actually, on the previous show, 100% mapped out what happened with this fight. that Tevin Farmer's a guy that really doesn't hold as much as Gary predicted. He's also a guy that we saw with Jonah Carroll, can get pressured, can get outworked on the inside, and now he's facing a far better opponent. And he couldn't adjust. Couldn't adjust competitively to Joseph Diaz, what he was doing from a technical perspective, from a power perspective, from an athletic perspective. I don't give much stock into like, oh, something's wrong with Tevin Farmer narrative. I don't. I'll be honest, especially since there's no real evidence to point that something was wrong with his hand or neurologically speaking. Right now, the signs point to he was fighting a lot of inferior competition. His best opponent in the last, 3 years was Jonah Carroll. And then he fought Joseph Diaz, who is his best opponent since Jose Pedraza. Of course, you're going to maybe not adjust accordingly. When you bad term, or bad phrase to say, but I'm going to use it anyways. If you've been fighting bums long enough, you become a bum. Okay, like that's just how kind of it works to a degree. And Tevin Farmer was fighting a lot of guys that were top 50 guys. And then he fought a perennial top 10 opponent, and I think it showed. But guys, thoughts on Joseph Diaz being able to out hustle, manhandle Tevin Farmer on the inside and sort of just outwork him?
I was going to say he fought Ivan Redcash, but then I went and looked up. It was 4 years ago already. I was like, wow. that was kind of the fight with people. Oh, wow, this guy is good. No, I'm not buying. Look, the only thing I would say was he fought like when Laura fought Hurt. He just fought the wrong fight. Why did he fight that way? He had in his head that he was going to be bigger and stronger because JoJo comes up from 26. But like he wasn't bigger or stronger. Like he should have got that.
Gary, hold on, Gary.
What the hell?
Your system's messing up, Gary. So refresh your page really fast, Gary. Okay, Rob, you want to jump in here? That's Gary.
Yeah, I'm of the thought that it can be a bit of both because I don't want to take anything away from Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz fought Tevin Farmer how you're supposed to fight Tevin Farmer, how you're supposed to fight a guy like that. But I do think there was something not quite right with Farmer but I feel had he fought guys that he has been fighting, he might have got away with it. On this occasion, he didn't because Jojo is a better fighter. And like I say, he done exactly what you're supposed to do to a guy like Tevin Farmer, pressure and really try and put it on the guy. And, that cut, oh my God, that was horrible. We've seen fights stop for less than that, I mean, and we've seen like Fury carry on with and that. So it obviously wasn't too much. When Jojo looked at the screen, and oh my God, that shit's ugly. Like he didn't even.
The Marlon Esparza cut that was like her being scalped, remember, against Nessa.
Yeah. God damn, Buddy Jack, shit like that. But yeah, no. So I do feel something wasn't quite right with Farmer, but on this occasion, it wasn't an opponent that he could get away with it. And I don't want to take anything away from Jojo Diaz because he executed the perfect game plan. I just wanted to bring up that fight week started to see Farmer talking about moving up. Like only one more fight at this weight or only a couple more fights at this. And I just tend to think once you start hearing fighters talking about moving up, a lot of times, in my opinion, that's because they're not doing well at making the weight, especially when you hear it fight week, that maybe fight week isn't going quite as well as you planned. But I'm not, like I say, I don't want to take anything away from Jojo Diaz because he, like I say, got that horrible cut and still came forward, still put it on Tevin just like you're supposed to. So shout out to him. Eddie's mentioned the fact of a rematch. I think they're looking to come back and do that. Did you say like April, May? Like quite a quick, fairly quick turnaround. So yeah, we'll see it again. I don't know if again like Roman and Akhmadaliev, can Farmer execute a different game plan to beat Jojo, or is that now Jojo winning a world title is when you get that extra 10%, I'm a champion now, and you get that extra, like can Farmer wrestle it back? I don't know, but I'd like to see it again because I think it could be, a good, another good fight between the two of them. But yeah, shout out to Jojo Diaz, done his thing.
Gary, thoughts on Joseph Diaz beating Tevin Farmer, and thoughts of Tevin Farmer being off that night for whatever reasons. Thoughts on the competition level being all of a sudden better than it used to be. Thoughts.
It's interesting because I want to talk about the competition thing with Andre, but you're right. And Jojo Diaz fought the fight he needed to fight, and kudos to him. Right, he came up. I thought that cut on his left eye was going to stop the fight early, and he went out like a dog. Mamba mentality, and he rocked the Kobe jersey. Like that was a great show of determination. He was not going to be denied that world title, but I feel like Tevin Farmer cooperated. Like Farmer was willing to stand in with them, which I thought was obviously a mistake. Like if you would have told me that Tevin was going to stand in with them, like I said, I think Jojo Diaz beats him because I thought that John O'Carroll was real close to beating him. Like maybe arguably did beat him. When he was willing to stand in with John O'Carroll. And I mean, there's levels between Jojo Diaz and John O'Carroll, right? So I would kind of lean like I think Tevin Farmer could beat him. Like he has the skills to do it, but he can't do it like that. It's the same like I thought Laura could beat Hearn, but he can't do it like that. He's got to fight a completely different fight. And I don't know, like for whatever reason, Farmer got it in his head that he was going to be bigger and stronger and be able to bully Jojo Diaz around because Diaz was coming up in weight. But you could see in the ring that there wasn't much of it. They're basically the same size. So like, why did you think that? Why would you fight his fight and think that you could bully ball him around? Like I didn't understand that, and it ended up backfiring. I thought the judges got it right. I thought Diaz won, and I thought he won convincingly. It was a good performance, and he was not going to be denied. But I felt like Tevin Farmer cooperated with him too much.
I agree with both of you guys in a lot of ways. You want to jump to the top two fights: Jake Paul defeating Anderson Gibb, whatever that is, and obviously Demetrius Andrade defeating Luke Keeler via 9th round TKO. Rob, thoughts on any of those fights?
Yeah, Andrade done his thing. Some people maybe think he should have done it a little sooner. I think he started looking for it once he hurt him in the was it the second round, got the stop. I think he went looking for it instead of letting it just flow like he can and put his shots together nicely. He started getting a little bit wild and trying to get him out of there. But Keeler was there for the taking. I get it. Brave performance, but the levels were on display quite clearly. But yeah, Andre goes on. We're going to get to it, I think, in the topics, but called out Saunders in the ring. Shout out to Chris Mannix pounding that drum, trying to get the Charlo fight, but he's on every one of his podcasts wanting the Charlo. I don't understand why Charlo doesn't take the money. It's the biggest money and stuff like that. But we've obviously covered that ground. But and he's right. It kind of makes sense, but there's other fights within their own stable that can be made, hopefully. So,
and of course, Chris Mannix is the one banging that drum. That why isn't Charlo doing this?
Yeah. Yeah, Andre, I predicted a ball fest 12-round thing. He got the stoppage. Fair enough. So he did one part of what we want him to do. Look.
So harsh.
No, you know what I mean. That's been the criticism of Andre, right? He's happy to go decision. He's happy to use his skills, not, hitting, not get hit. Don't pressure. Don't go looking for it. You're not going to visit me in the hospital, because I'm trying to, get a guy out of there and take unnecessary risks. He didn't have to take risks necessarily to do that to Keeler. So that sounded like I said tequila, but to Keeler. Yeah, so he done his thing, but yeah, it was expected. But yeah, happy he called out someone else other than Canelo and Triple G. It's like he's finally got the message that.
Before I jump to Gary, I mean, I'll put this right. I'm far more positive about Andrade's performance because he did improve. Like he did turn the corner. Because it's been 5-10 fights now of Andrade of just bad, boring decision after bad, boring decision, and clearly he's heard the criticism and he came out with a flying Superman punch to knock down Luke Keeler in the first round. I mean, come on. I mean, I have to give him a lot of props here for turning that corner. Gary, are you still critical of Andrade as Rob is, in my opinion, or are you throwing him his praises more as I am?
I have some thoughts on it. I don't know what my conclusion is, right? Like, Luke Keeler looked awful. Like, he looked absolutely terrible. Luke Keeler's not that bad. I mean, he's not that great, but he's not that bad either. He beat Aries. Like, he's a good fighter. Like, is he world class? Maybe not. But, like, he looked like an amateur, and he looked like your dad beating up his little son, and like, that looked ridiculous. Like, he's not that bad. So, like, I have no idea what his game plan was, right? His fight approach, his approach to the fight made no sense. And look, Andrade did his thing. But, like,
levels, Gary, levels.
Dude, Gary's like being positive and ranting at the same time. This
I
is
know, it's like a positive rant.
Ranting right here, Gary. You're potting right now. Way to go.
Andrade did his thing. I can't criticize Andrade's performance, but the thing I would say was he hurt him in the first, nearly took his head off in the second, and it still took him 7 more rounds to get him out. So it was 8 or 9. It was 9th, right? 9th round? It was 7 more rounds after he took his head off in the second round to get him out. He's not a good finisher. He hasn't improved there, but he was more aggressive. He did things, but like Keeler just looked so out of his league and so outclassed and so terrible. Like, I was expecting Keeler to be able to do some things the way Salisky did some things. Like, he's not going to be winning the fight, but he'll be able to put some combinations together, do some work, and make Andrade think. He never did. It was
one-way traffic.
The entire way, and Keeler's better than that. Now, like, maybe it's Andrade, right? Like, maybe Andrade's so good that he can pick up the aggression and still make you look like that. But it's hard for me to believe that was Keeler's fighting on his A game. Like, Keeler, he's better. Keeler's better than that. That's all I'm saying.
Yes and no. I mean, I see what you're saying, Gary. I think that's largely up to how Andrade looked, and on top of it, yes, Andrade still took him 9 rounds to finish that Luke Keeler. But like you said, he's not a finisher. He's not a knockout artist. But our criticism is that when he's facing lower level competition, you can up the pressure. You don't need to rely on your skills when you're outclassing a guy 120, 109. And he could have done that with Luke Keeler, and he didn't. He decided to fight atypical. He decided to fight on the front foot and largely be an off-balance, aggressive fighter. And while that's not his forte, that he didn't look that skilled doing it, he did it knowing, if I go 12 rounds being a defensive guy with Luke Keeler, I'm going to get way more shit than if I'm off balance throwing these heavy shots. And he's right. And I think long term, when he's taking these sort of off fights in a way, these tune-ups to a degree, he has to be more aggressive. Okay, there's a reason why we criticize Jamal Charlo for going, 10 rounds or 11 rounds with Brandon Adams? Right? Like, there's a reason we criticize certain guys going the distance or going late with certain competition. Now, I'm not expecting Andrade to come out there and be a finisher against Charlo or Triple G or even Munguia. But what I'm expecting now going forward is that he's listening to the public. He's listening to the media more. He's more self-aware of his own limitations and flaws and criticisms, and he's adjusting accordingly. That's what you need to do to sort of, in my opinion, jump from being a B-plus fighter to an A-level fighter. You need to be able to hear all that criticisms from very smart people, take it in, and adjust. And Andrade, for 10 years, has not done that. He did it on Thursday night. Props to him.
I mean, Jamal would have stopped Keeler inside a round, right?
Don't get me fucking started on that.
Shout out to Twitter, revving people up.
And those guys at Sunday Puncher, man. Some of them are very smart, man, but some of them are just PBC fans deep down in their heart. Just like Rob, to a degree, is deep down in his heart a Matchroom fan. I know it. There's a reason he shits on Frank Warren. I know, Rob. And Gary is obviously a fanboy and waving the Texas flag over everything. You know, like, I get it. But come on. When you're put down to the mat, you can't double down and say, it's not a big deal. You're splitting hairs here. Charlo could have knocked him out in 1 round, maybe. Fuck out of here.
Guys, Charlo get rid of Brandon Adams, what he was trying to, right? Like, I don't know. Is there much difference between Cannon Adams and Luke Keeler? Keeler's better resume-wise. And Jamal Charlo, who's a puncher, who is a knockout artist, couldn't get rid of Brandon Adams.
Did Luke Keeler win a TV show?
Hold on. Some jackass also said that Jamel Charlo can knock him out 1 round as well.
It was the same one, wasn't it?
The same one, yes.
Yeah.
I just don't want to give him any publicity in terms of names.
I just wanted you to clarify it was the same jackass.
Yes, but then the other groups of jackasses decided to then defend that jackass and that jackassy statement.
Even though the jackass statement then got backtracked on and twisted
instantaneously. Sound like Corey Cota lasted 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cota didn't last 5 rounds, did he?
Was it 5 or 3?
I don't know. It was quick.
Right,
I we had a power my DirecTV went out. And
Hogan went.
It went out right when Jamel was walking into the ring, and then
it was less than 6 for sure, but I don't know.
It was like 3, I think. It was 3.
Regardless, it was not the first round.
No.
Not the first.
Stop. Get out of here.
But yeah, I think Jake Paul would have got him out of there in a round.
We're moving on. It's Ugas defeating Mike Dallas Jr. in the 7th round. I mean, look, he just bullied him around, won every round, landed everything he wanted. Like the issue of Rodonus Ugas not cutting off the ring will always be there, I think, because he just doesn't cut off the ring the way I want him to. But he makes up for that by being a bruiser and such an aggressive fighter. I do wish he would throw a little more in combination and lower down the power and up the speed. But digressing, Ugas got Mike Dallas out of there in relatively easy fashion because we all expected that. And he's levels and levels above Mike Dallas. Guys, any thoughts on this fight? And also just to bring up the undercard, so I know Gary can jump in there as well. Omar Juarez defeating Angel Martinez Hernandez via unanimous decision. I thought he showed some cardio issues and a lack of combination work and a lack of working behind the jab. Raymond Guardo losing to Clay Collard via TKO in the 2nd round. That was a hell of a back and forth fight. That was arguably round of the year in that 1st round. I think both guys were knocked down 3 or 4 times. BoxRec hasn't updated yet. So go back and watch that fight if you haven't yet. And I'm pretty sure they put the 1st round on social media already. So if you want to go like PBC on Fox's Twitter account or something like that, they have the 1st round up. And that's all you need to see to be entertained. And who else got some wins? Dion Nicholson got a win. Michael Rivera picked up a win as well. And that's the only fights that I saw. Gary, I know since you were there, thoughts on the card itself, thoughts on the environment, the people there. Was it packed house? Was it sold out crowd?
No,
it wasn't.
It was not.
It was bad.
Although Aroldis Chapman, World Series hero and current New York Yankee, Aroldis Chapman was there, and I got to meet him. He doesn't speak any English really.
Ugas bringing him out,
but he was there, and he was massive. Like he looks big on TV, and then when you see him. He looks like a linebacker size. He looks like a tight end or an NFL linebacker. Like he's massive.
The dude's like 6'7".
Is he as big as Thurman?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Don't worry. We're gonna get to that.
Big.
Pause.
No,
and I thought you didn't even like Thurman.
we'll get to that. The crowd was probably. The capacity was probably, we guessed, about 1,500, 2,000 absolute tops, and it was about half full. So maybe there was 1,000 people in the crowd.
How many comps?
It's a casino, so most of them are comps.
Yeah.
They're making the money off the site fee, not by the ticket sales, unfortunately.
But I thought Ugas' performance was a sparring session where he beat him up. It was my only concern was the scorecard where Jay Diaz, how do you say his name?
JD's
had it.
Wilder's trainer.
4 rounds to 3. He scored 3 rounds, including the 1st round for Mike Dallas. Now I don't know what that is, but they can't ever have him scoring fights again. It's not like the guy doesn't know anything about boxing, right? So you can't say he didn't know what he's talking about. You can't have, I don't know what that was, but that's never allowed to happen again. He's going the 1st round for Mike Dallas.
There's not a single round you can give to Mike Dallas.
Not one. I mean, it was ridiculous.
I know it happens, but it's I don't know. Something not right about a trainer judging a fight.
Rob, there's so much not right with judging in terms of like announcers and their wives are judges, or their daughters, or their sons, or their cousins, or how many gosh, I'm trying to remember all the names right now. There's a bunch of judges that are like related to each other. Like nepotism's huge, man. Like it's such a ancestral sport in a way, unfortunately. It is like that's just look, it is like the same people,
like actual incest.
No, not like that, but metaphorically speaking, like the people that you see as trainers, managers, promoters, etc., they all have a very active role through the regulation of the sport because their family members are involved in the regulation of the sport. Like that's
so more like nepotism, not
Dave and Carl Moretti, for example. Carl Moretti, the CEO of Top Rank. What's his official title?
I don't know which one, DeBuff. I don't know which one is CEO. Which one's I don't know.
I don't know. Dave Moretti is a judge and a ref,
and an awful one, by the way.
The other one's the official franchise champion protester or campaigner.
Oh,
he's the one.
Not protester. Yeah. He loves them. Shit. Yeah. We asked for them. That's what he said.
We got what we wanted.
But regardless, back to your point, Rob. Yeah, it's and to Gary. Like, yeah, that like JD's like he shouldn't be judging. And
shouldn't be training Wilder.
He should be. But that's not just a him issue. Like that's a sport-wide issue with
that
are crossed over with in terms of conflict of interest when the regulation side and the business side of the sport, and those two should never mix, and they do all the time. But back to the fights at hand. Let's move a little bit off the Ugas fight, unless Robert wants to jump in. Because let's be honest, Ugas won every round. He beat Mike Dallas Jr. There's a tune-up. It should have been Danny Garcia, Udonis Ugas this quarter. It wasn't. Oh well. But Gary, Omar Ware, do you really think he looked that great to you? I mean,
yeah, I thought his skills. I mean, I could see like, look, he's had 10 fights, 8 fights, 7 fights, 7 fights, 8 fights,
7 fights now.
7 fights.
5, 4, 3, 2.
One of the numbers, right? He fought a guy who was good.
So many of them.
Like he fought a guy who'd been in there with Lucas Matisse, Marcos Maidana. The guy on BoxRec is not who he fought. Same name, different guy, right? The guy I had on BoxRec was 10-1. The guy he fought was like 18-17. I don't know if they fixed that yet. Same name. They put the wrong guy in there. Yeah.
You haven't fixed it.
Whoever took that loss, who didn't lose, is not happy about that. Right. So it was a good step up fight for him. A guy who's been in with future world champions. I thought he did what he had to do. Like his skills look good. Again, there are things you can fix. Matt said he doesn't work behind the jab enough. He tries to set up his power too much and then load up on power shots, but he's not a power puncher. He can get guys out, but it's not going to be with one shot. You know what I'm saying?
Let me correct you right there because I think you misspoke. He doesn't set up his shots.
Oh,
enough. You said he does. He sets up his shots too much, and I was like, no.
He doesn't set up his shot. He doesn't set up his shots enough, and then he tries to load up on a right hand.
Yes.
There's things he's got to fine tune for sure. He's not ready to go fight the top 135, 140 pounds in the world yet, but he's only had 7 fights. I think his skills, his athleticism, his speed, it's all there. It's just a matter of going through the process and going take it. It's like saying, is the best single A hitter in baseball ready for the major leagues? No, guys, relax. He's 20. He's got time. He'll grow. And like, can this version of Omar Wars be a world champion and knock out Ramirez? No, but like we're not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you think he's at?
I think 7 fights into his career. I think he's 2-3 years away at least. Easy.
I'm not talking about world championship. I'm talking about like, do you see him fighting? God, hold on. Let me pull up rankings really fast. Because I have him up, so I can do that. I did that for this reason. Look, I'll be honest. While I did have criticism of his performance, I thought he looked very good, and he still looks very good. I think he can take a massive step up if he wants. Like, is it Cletus Selden out of the question?
He would have to be careful. Cletus can crack, right? I mean, he should be able to outbox Cletus Selden, right? You would think, but he'd have to be really careful. He'd have to use his jab way more than he'd have to fight better to beat a guy like Cletus Selden than he fought last night.
Argenis Mendez.
I mean, again, it's hard to rate these prospects.
It's not like saying that you rate him above them. Would you want to see him in that level of fight now, or do you still think he's maybe a year from that?
I'd say he's a year from that.
Okay. I understand. Any thoughts on your man Ray Guardo losing via dramatic TKO?
It was
also I had an interesting interaction with either his cousin, his brother, or his dad on social media. By the way, very interesting interaction.
They listen to the show because I know Ray.
They're not going to listen to the show anymore.
I don't know what was said.
Whoever he was, Michael Gerardo. I don't know who that in relation to homie Ray is, but obviously related to him. He said that the fight was fixed. Like, come on, man. Like, let's not do this corny shit right now. And he was like, it was just a joke. And I'm like, okay, sure, man. Whatever. But digressing. I like Ray. I thought he looked good. I think he was just way too aggressive, has chin way too high up. Just things he needs to work on. Very young.
Yeah, I said, I talked about him before because I said he's the better prospect than Joey Spencer. I still step. Joey Spencer's never going to be a world champion unless they hand him a belt. He's not good. Like, look, Ray Guajardo is still raw. Like I said, that he only had like 20 or 30 amateur fights, and then he got his first knockout on a card in San Antonio, and he got signed right out of that because he like knocked the kid's head off on a Roy Jones card, and it was like, whoa, who's this kid? He was supposed to lose, right? And he comes in and he knocks the guy out of nowhere. There is so much growth for that kid, but the size, like you look at him, he's 19. He's built like he's 28 years old. He's built like a grown man already, right? Like it's gonna be steps and it's gonna be process. It's gonna be a process. If you look at the guy who Clay Collins fought, they're all like undefeated guys and prospects. Like they wanted to see what they had in here and they wanted to move him up quickly because he's so electric. But he's got a lot to learn. He'll be back. Like this will not be the last time you heard Ray Guajardo's name. It may be for the near future because he's only 19, but he will be back. Like they need to teach him how to fight, right? They need to teach him. Like I'm not trying to sound funny. Like you have a guy who throws 100 miles an hour fastball, you have to teach him how to pitch. Like he can throw a fastball, but now he has to learn how to pitch. Ray Guajardo's got to do that. Look, the kid's really tall, really long. Like why not use that? Why not use that to your advantage? It's a process. He's 19. I promise you, Ray Guajardo, you will hear that name again. This was not. You will see him again in meaningful fights years from now.
Also, I'm going to bring up Alonga Makabu defeating Michael Cizelek in Democratic Republic of Congo this weekend as well to pick up, was it the WBO title?
WBC
cruiserweight title.
I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because this was.
Yeah.
The one they pulled away from the World Boxing Super Series. Right?
That's the vacant belt from the whole.
In the most craziest of days, that fight getting put together, the ring getting put together, the exchange of physical, like chunks of money to get the fight on. Oh my god! In just like a grassy field.
Let's move on to the news of the day to sort of speed up the show. I know we started late recording, and I know, Rob, you have to run in the next 45 minutes. Talks, per Dan Rayfield, talks for a spring fight between middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez and secondary titleist Ryota Murata in Murata's home country of Japan have ended. Sources with knowledge of the discussions told ESPN. One source termed the talks as having cratered, quote. The exact reason was not disclosed, but the fight viewed by many as a long shot to be made in the first place could be revived for the fall, one source said. Alvarez, who has said he's interested in fighting overseas, still plans to fight in the spring, most likely May 2nd in Las Vegas with undefeated super middleweight world title holders Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders among those in the running for the fight. Alvarez holds a secondary belt at super middleweight. Now, before I give you my theory, I want to sort of explain my theory as more. Right now, and we're going to get to this separately, Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders are in the middle of some Twitter battle and beef, and I love it. And also, again, conspiracy theory with me. We've had a lot of reports lately, including Callum Smith and Billy Joe's name. And Callum Smith's name is usually first. I'm going to say always first because I don't know. But usually speaking, it is first. And also, Callum Smith, Billy Joe, is now talking shit to Andrade and trying to set up that fight. Maybe a sign that the negotiations between Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo aren't really progressing. And plus, we obviously heard Oscar downplay that Billy Joe Saunders was the main option some weeks ago. So my theory is that Callum Smith is now the main option and the main site of Canelo and probably the main focus of the negotiations right now. Whatever that really means in a week from now, God knows, because they could still probably take another month of time here before they announce this fight. Even though that would suck, it's just the God honest truth. But guys, thoughts on my little theory that we're going to get Canelo Callum Smith now instead of Canelo Murata and obviously Canelo Billy Joe Saunders. Rob, Gary, I don't know who wants to jump in there.
Yeah, Rob, this is a UK topic.
Half UK.
Yeah, no, I guess for me, the talks of Murata in Japan were for the 24th, and we've seen since that they've got T-Mobile booked for May 2nd, I think it is, when the weekend falls for Cinco de Mayo or whatever. So, so I don't think I wonder if DAZN had a say in this, like that we need the Mexican holiday, the weekend, to get a fight on, because I think this now, as far as DAZN's I guess plans of doing a big fight per month would mean Joshua falls on June the I think it's the 6th instead of May 28th or something like that. So which would mean, a calendar month billing thing. Try and get you to stick around for the Joshua fight after the Canelo fight. But yeah, I've started to get this feeling that, yeah, Billy Joe, either negotiations have like not gone well, or they just haven't happened at all, and he's like, all right, okay, well, I'll move on, and me and Andrade will look at doing it again. Third time's a charm, right? So we'll try and get that fight made. And maybe Callum Smith, quietly, there's stuff going on in the background regarding him. Sky have done a couple of little pieces with Callum Smith. Callum Smith was on a show here, Soccer AM, sort of talking, and yeah, I've got a sneaky suspicion that Callum Smith might get the nod. Joe Gallagher is about to be the happiest man on the planet. He's finally got his guy, or getting his guy that big fight. But yeah, I guess it must be getting announced fairly soon, I think. Although Golden Boy and promotion, who knows?
I mean, you can wait all February. You still have March and April.
Yeah, I know. But
8 weeks of training camp and promotion that you could theoretically do, and we have 4 weeks till that point.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying you'd think we'd start seriously getting some news, like sources, camps are close on a deal with Callum Smith, you know what I mean? So and then announcements would come fairly soon. I guess if you're a certain media outlet and you constantly keep saying every name and that an announcement's coming soon, it's going to be like a clock, right? It's right at least twice a day.
Yeah.
So if you do enough articles,
enough
people. It's like the weather. Today's weather, it'll be rain with a little bit of sunshine, some snow and wind, and perfectly calm. So you're going to get some of it, right? So yeah, I think Callum Smith is the sneaky, quiet outsider that's going to end up landing the Canelo like Willy Wonka ticket, the lottery ticket.
Gary, thoughts on Canelo's options here?
I think Rob's right. I think it's going to be Smith. But then, like, what happens with Andrade and Billy Joe? Do they fight each other? And if so, at what weight? Can Billy Joe come back down to 60?
168. Andrade
said he'd go up.
We're going to get to that in a second. We're going to get to Andrade in a second. But yeah, don't worry about that.
I'd prefer a Callum Smith fight, right? Like, I think Smith honestly has done more to deserve that fight than Billy Joe, who is still living off of a win over Willie Monroe, which doesn't look that great in retrospect, and David Lemieux, which, I mean, It was a great performance, but like all things considered, it's David Lemieux. Like that, those like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was 2+ years ago, probably. Right? I mean, that was a while ago. That was a great performance, but it wasn't recent, right? So I'd rather see Smith. I think Smith is more deserving, and I think we're going to get Smith. And then what happens with the other names and Marota? Because I thought we were going to get. I really did think we were going to get that for a while. So I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if Golden Boy knows right now. But like right now, and this could change. So check. Check back in 5 minutes.
I think Golden Boy but the Golden Boy probably doesn't.
Do you think Oscar De La Hoya knows what day it is, much less who his guys are going to fight? You know, like,
hey, don't hate on him, man. That's even for me. Even for me, like, what day is it? The 12th, the 13th? I don't know.
No, and I like it, Canelo. Look, Canelo's going to win any of those fights, but Smith is a good fight, and I mean, this might be perceived as cherry picking for some, but those people need to get real because Smith just struggled with Ryder, and say, oh, you're fighting him at the right time. You just struggle with Ryder, but it's a good fight. And
Ryder did draft the blueprint for Canelo to beat him.
Exactly. Canelo's gonna likely win whoever he fights next. The only name I think would be really tough for him would be Andrade, but he should be able to get past Andrade too. Any of those other names, he's gonna beat all those guys.
Agreed. Let's move on. Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders are getting into it. Billy Joe saying, okay, let's talk numbers. At MTK Global respond to Demetrius Andrade, and Andrade responding, you already know the numbers. Just tell Eddie Hearn, if no Canelo, you want the fight, and we're going to make it happen. Hashtag May 2020. Hashtag take the test. Hashtag A-team. Hashtag tall, black, and handsome. Hashtag it's me again. Guys, is this a fight that we really want? Because this isn't a fight that I particularly am asking for anymore. I will accept it. It's obviously a much better fight for both men than their last few opponents. But I think both guys can have better matchups in their divisions right now. I mean, Triple G is having a fight in 2 weeks' time against Zemurata? Right, that's in February, right? I mean, it's not March, it's in February.
No, it's been moved to April now.
Oh, it got moved to April?
I think so.
Oh, fuck. All right, then maybe he does need to tune up then. Maybe my point's not going to make sense now.
No,
but
let me check. I know Cop said something about it.
I think you're right now that it got pushed back. But if I'm Andrade, I'm looking for the Triple G fight. Like, everything else is kind of on the peripheral if I'm him. And there are fights that I would take, like a Billy Joe fight, like a Charlo fight, but the main guy I want is Triple G. Triple G is the one guy that will automatically make you an A-level fighter if you beat him. Look what those two fights did for Canelo. I feel like people don't, maybe newer fans who weren't around a few years ago, they don't understand this, but Canelo was like a butt of every joke heading into that first Triple G fight. For taking the Amir Khan fight, for the whole Canelo weight stuff, right, guys? Like, Canelo was the joke heading into a Triple G fight. Even though he beat Cotto, the tough fight with Laura, people kind of made fun of Canelo. The people didn't view him as a pound-for-pound elite till those two Triple G fights. So if I'm Charlo, if I'm Andrade, the only person I am focused on is Triple G. And for Andrade, that's an in-house fight. How the hell has Eddie Hearn not been able to push that fight? Or to at least make that a topic of conversation post the mandatory that Triple G has? And how has the media and fans not been pushing for that fight too? That's a great fight, period. And it's an in-house fight. We're letting the PBC welterweights fight each other because they're all still great fights. I'm okay with the matchroom middleweights fighting each other and kicking out Charlo as long as they fight each other. Because those are all still great fights. But they're not making them. And even though Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade is a fine fight, it's a fight at 168 between two middleweights who shouldn't be at 168. And it's a fight that, to me, has lost a little bit of its luster. But I know maybe I'm being a hater, and that's kind of who I am. I'm a jackass. So, guys, thoughts on Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders getting into a Twitter beef, thoughts on them fighting in May, and the ramifications of that.
Yeah, I'm sort of glad that these guys are maybe. I think Andre definitely knows he's not getting a Canelo fight. Billy Joe maybe is, but I think maybe deep down he believes it's going elsewhere. So right, what's next for me? And bring up that old sort of rivalry kind of that never happened, if you know what I mean. It's a shame that now it consists of one guy moving up. When they were both at 160, it was like an interest. I think it's always going to be one for almost the hardcores, because potentially this could be a very
boring,
hard watch for people. But yeah, I don't mind it. You know, for some people, it is finally Eddie Hearn putting some of his guys against each other, instead of, you know, looking out there for who can we get. So all of my guys are, you know, not fighting each other kind of thing. But yeah, I'm okay with the fight. I've got no like, oh, it should be this or it should be that. I don't mind this one. This is fine.
Yeah, Gary, thoughts on Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders next?
I love the fight. If Billy Joe Saunders and Andrade fought each other, I love that fight. That is a great high level boxing match. But Matt's right. Like, why are they not calling out Triple G? Why are they not demanding Triple G? That's the money fight. Like, I love an Andrade Billy Joe fight, but like, give me Triple G. That's the money fight. Like, why? I mean, this other stuff seems weird to me. Like, embarrass Triple G. Like, make him fight you, right? Like, I mean, I've heard that he doesn't want to fight Andrade. Andrade needs to play that to his advantage. Like, he's scared of me. Obviously, he's like me. Eddie and Mitchie, like, get underneath the skin, call him out. Like, that's the money fight. And you can beat him at this point. You know, like, Andre still might get knocked out to him because he still gets relaxed in there. But like, Andre could certainly at this point, if he stays focused and stays strong for 12 rounds, he can outbox Triple G. Easily do it, right? I don't want to say easily, but he can obviously do it. So, like, why are you like? Again, the Billy Joe fight, a Charlo fight, those fights are fine. But why is your sights not 100% set on, we won't call it the gold prize because that's Canelo, but we'll call it the silver prize, which is Triple G. Why is that not where 100%? If like I was Andrade, I'd only call out two people, Canelo and Triple G. It was like when Pacquiao and Mayweather were back at welterweights. Every welterweight said, I want to fight those guys. You know, Margarito, Paul Williams, Shane Mosley. Like, give me one of those guys. Like, why? I mean, the other fights are fine. It's good. I would enjoy those fights. But, like, from your own perspective, don't you want the biggest prize available? The biggest fight out there?
And to Andrade's credit, he has been calling out Triple G for a long time. But his promoters on record in our own interview on this channel saying they don't want the fight. I.e., Triple G does not want the fight. So, to Gary's point, if I'm Andrade and I hear that, because Eddie has said that quite a few times in other interviews as well, that Triple G doesn't want these fights, how has he not made that like a hashtag? Like, Triple G doesn't want the fight, and like just have a campaign a la Rigo Loma. Because people act like Twitter beefs don't create fights, and they're for some reason want to ignore Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux. I mean, Rob, you were doing shows with me back then on Name Redacted. You remember that era. Rigo got a mega fight and made it a mega fight with just trolling.
Yeah, shout out to his social media guy.
And look, I met a social media guy, right? The guy was very nice. But like it was a concerted planned thing of we're gonna get that fight now.
Creative, very creative.
We're gonna post memes daily, hourly, saying that they're scared of us. And guess what? Eventually, because we say it so often, it becomes fact, air quotes. And promoters do that all the time. Look at Eddie Hearn, look at Bob Arum. They will repeat stuff to the media and talking points over and over again until it becomes fact, air quotes. Andrade needs to do that. And Billy Joe needs to do that to a degree. And I know like Eddie kind of downplayed that, like, oh, fighters don't do that, or the big guys won't fight you. But Canelo literally responded to Ezzolani Alora and fought him because Ezzolani Alora trolled him on social media too often. So that's actually how the biggest fights do get made. So I think I understand why we're getting Andrade Billy Joe Saunders. And like Rob said, it's an okay fight. And like Gary said, it's actually a really good fight. Stylistically, technically speaking, this is a great technical matchup. It may not be the most exciting all-action fight, but it is a technical matchup of brilliant boxing for us. It just is. But it's not the fight that I think either guy really wants, and it's not the fight that I think we as the consumers probably want as well. And that just makes me think, why can't we get the good stuff? Why can't we get the best? You know, why do we always have to settle for stuff that we maybe don't necessarily want? And not that Billy Joe Saunders Andrade is 100% that, but it kind of is to me. But moving on, just for the sake of time, and just brief adding to this, Andrade is willing to fight Billy Joe Saunders in England. So location is like, there should not be an issue to make this fight as well. Like if there's any issues for this fight to be negotiated, it's because somebody doesn't want to make the fight. I'm not going to point fingers, Billy Joe, but you know, we will know why. Moving on, unless anyone else has any other thoughts about Andrade, the middleweight, so to speak.
Yeah, as long as that's true, there should be no issue with the fight. Because if I was Andrade, you know this thing's going to the scorecards. Like, let's be real. That would be a hold up for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's cool with it, then let's get the fight made.
Brief little tidbit of news here. Fox Network, obviously for the Super Bowl, averaged 99.869 million viewers on last night's Super Bowl. When added together, Fox Deportes, and digital average 102 million viewers. And for why this is related to boxing, obviously we're just talking about him. Wilder-Fury promos were featured, I'm not going to say heavily on the telecast, but there was, I want to say 5 times in the pregame and the actual game that I saw promos for the fight. Good marketing. You know, I'm not going to say it's now going to do 2 million buys or even 1 million buys, but great marketing. You know, when we talk about being creative, putting fights out there to the masses, this is kind of what we're talking about to a degree. And I was kind of, not to make this a DAZN versus Fox topic, because that's not what this is, but I was also kind of looking for DAZN and see if they were going to put advertising on the Super Bowl. Because obviously for Fox and PBC, it's a free advertisement because it's on Fox's network, so it's not going to cost them the $5.6 million to put an ad. For DAZN, it would. But I was kind of curious to see if I was going to see DAZN marketing on the telecast. Didn't, but I don't really fault them for that. I mean, it's $5.6 million for a 30-second drop. I don't blame them for that, to be quite honest. But guys, any quick thoughts on the promotion, marketing of Wilder-Fury via the Super Bowl? Also, Deontay Wilder was featured heavily on Radio Row all Super Bowl week. I think he did a lot of the Fox Sports shows, like the ones with what's his name, with the guy I hate, Jason Whitlock.
I was going to say, you got to narrow it down.
That guy, I hate him. But he did obviously all the Fox shows because it's Fox. But he did some other media for interviews and stuff all week. Guys, thoughts on just the promoting for Wilder-Fury via Super Bowl? Do you think it was successful? Do you think it's going to have any, not significant, just any material effect on pay-per-view buys?
It's got to, right? I mean, put in front of 100 million homes, or 100 million viewers. Like, it's got to, right? Like, I mean, I don't see how. I mean, again, how much? I don't know, right? I said 600,000 to 700,000, which after I said that might have been way too high. I don't know. It might do that. Like, I don't think that's unreasonable. Matt's saying no, which would be a double from what it did last time, basically, right? Because it did 3 and change.
If it did double from last time, that's just like the first time that's ever happened in pay-per-view history that a rematch did double the buy rate from the first fight. And secondly, it would prove that stuff like this was a massive difference in buy rate. That's the number we would need to see for us to go back to this number and say this was the difference between making that fight 325,000 buys on Showtime and 600,000 plus buys on Fox.
I that 600 to 700 number, it was aggressive, and I said, I was like, why did I say that? That was stupid. I'm thinking like I might be close here. Like again, I might have been hyperbolic when I said 600,000 to 700,000. But I might not have been. I think we might get close to that number. This was put in front of so many people. It's 2 massive heavyweights. One, Wilder, is exactly what you want a heavyweight champion to be, someone who just knocks people out, right? And then Tyson Fury is able to sell fights because he's a crazy person. I think this is good. I think this fight is going to do a really good number. Matt, are you still sticking around 400,000? Is that still where you're at?
I think obviously the 500,000 mark is the over and under that people are looking at. I'm still picking the under 450, 400. Yeah, I'm guessing around that. And that's still a 33% improvement from the first fight. That still would be maybe a first in pay-per-view history. Like, I would have to go back and actually research this in terms of rematches, what they did on pay-per-views, but it's not normal to see a significant jump.
Well, I would say Pacquiao Marquez 3 did much better numbers than Pacquiao Marquez 2, just because Pacquiao Mania was in full effect at that point. But I don't know.
I have to go back and check.
Did decent numbers too.
Rob, I know that you're in the UK, so maybe this doesn't matter to you in terms of US pay-per-view buys and US Super Bowl, but
no, I mean, I watched it. Obviously the feed came from Fox, but it cuts to Sky Studio guys when obviously you guys go to commercial. So I didn't see it, but I was on Twitter and saw people saying, "Oh, there was just a 15-second ad for Wilder-Fury 2 at a certain point in the game," and I obviously, like 102 million people is a hell of a lot of people. I just wonder how much that's hitting people when in the middle of like the biggest sporting moment in US for the year,
To maybe add to the point you're making, or to maybe counter it, I guess. The Super Bowl is known for commercials. Like there is a large segment of the population that is watching the Super Bowl not because they like football, because the commercials are the cultural moment and water cooler talk for the next week.
Yeah, no, I get you. But everything I've seen on that was like
quickly. Sorry, just so I can finish my point and explain it. So, meaning more people on average are probably watching the commercials for a Super Bowl than other sporting events because the commercials are an aspect of the Super Bowl that sell itself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like it's on the news like the next day, even here. And it's all over Twitter. But like I said, the ones that seem to hit are the ones that was Bill Murray Groundhog Day for Jeep. That was pretty cool. I saw that. There's someone singing "Let It Go" in an Audi or something.
That was Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But it was only like the boxing guys on Twitter that I follow or always crop up that were mentioning Wilder-Fury. It didn't seem to. Do you know? And all I'm saying is, I don't think, even though it's great exposure, I don't know how much of an effect that great exposure had.
Well, Rob, I don't think the side effect of that type of marketing is to have everyone on social media now talking about Wilder-Fury. That's not what it's there for. It's to put that in your mind, all the marketing, and then commercials on ESPN, commercials on Fox, right? You just be bombarded with advertisement. And then on the day of, when you're on your guide, you see the Wilder-Fury ticker everywhere, right? I don't know if that's the same thing on your guys, if you guys have that. But for Gary, like, you know this, like, there's the pay-per-view ticker you see all the time. And, like, if there's a big fight, you're going to see that ticker, and it's advertised from the cable provider. Okay. The UFC pay-per-views used to do it all the time, but now that the cable providers don't hold them, you don't see the advertising as much. But for Fox pay-per-views, they still push that because cable providers still get a cut of it. So it's all about just throwing it in the public's conscious over and over again, subconsciously even. There's a big fight coming. Pay attention to it. And on the day of, when you're on your remote and going through your guide, all you're going to see is kind of tickers and ads for that pay-per-view. And it's a sum of the whole equation instead of this one ad is supposed to create boom interest from the cat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know, I get you, but I did want to say, I think Fight Oracle on Twitter. I think it's Fight Oracle, or
he's some weirdo.
No, but I'm pretty sure, and other people kind of confirmed it. It said, "Oh, the Wilder-Fury 2 ad just told me to go to Fox website or the app to get this on," and it's not anywhere on the. So I don't know. Driving it in that way and saying that, and then people maybe going, "Oh, let me go and check it out." It wasn't actually there to. So it's kind of maybe a little misleading. But anyway, like you said, I get the end goal. It's like keep it in people's mind, keep it like, and it's in a lot of people's mind if it's on the Super Bowl day, and then when it comes to it, oh, that's that fight. Okay, just
absolutely, just like in theory, if DAZN put a bunch of ads in the Super Bowl, You're hoping for the next Canelo fight. When there's more ads for the Canelo fight, people realize, oh, that's that DAZN thing that I heard. I remember that Super Bowl commercial.
And look, it was.
And also, Rob, it's not uncommon for ads to come on the Super Bowl that are previewing stuff that's not even out yet. There was a new app that was promoted heavily. I mean, to the point that was nauseating. It's called Quibble. I want to say is what the app was called. It's going to be the new TikTok, I guess. Yeah, I know.
I don't even.
They're 10-minute episodes. That's what it is. It's all 10-minute episodes. And it's not coming out until April.
At least TikTok's like not long.
So you see an app that was pushed 5 times in the Super Bowl, 6 times. So that's what, $20 million of advertising that you're putting into it, right? For an app that's not even out yet. So that does happen, you know. And honestly, that's okay. I'd rather have promotion pre the thing happening, and that's
no. Yeah, just quickly though, it was free, right? This was a Fox pay-per-view, and it was on Fox, so they didn't charge themselves to put this advert on, right? So it was free.
Yeah. The commercial was free. Yes, it didn't cost Fox or PBC.
Someone made a promo. Some guy in the graphics department puts together a promo, and you can run it for free on your own channel because that's where the fight's going to be, and that's where the Super Bowl was. So why not? Even if it does nothing for the promotion, you've lost nothing. You've put out a promo on the biggest sporting occasion in the US.
I just wanted to add to that. You guys need to hit the super chat because me and Matt and Rob want to buy a 30-second spot on next year's Super Bowl, and it's only about $5.4 million. So if you guys could help out with that,
if we start now,
yeah. Just feel free. You can put in the whole 5.4 if you want. We don't mind, right, Matt? You don't mind if one person puts in the whole.
No, not at all. No, I'm not Bernie Sanders. I don't want only $20 donations.
Can I just say, if
call
someone
me Steyer or Bloomberg, man, give me the fucking $1 million donors, please.
Can I just say, if we get the grand sum total of $5.4 million in super chats, I hope Matt doesn't put a fucking preview on the Super Bowl next year. I hope that is split equally. And we just go our separate ways.
Go our separate ways.
Well, you don't want to talk boxing?
No, not with you guys.
I would talk boxing with you every day on some remote island in the Pacific.
Yeah, we could do satellite link up, Gary. And
Rob, by the way, it wouldn't be equal splits because you deserve more split than Gary and Fu. Hot take.
I mean, it's right.
Don't worry, you all get $1 million at least.
Every time Tanahara gets brought up, you lose 100,000, Gary. You actually owe us money now.
Okay, we gotta move on. Oh god. We gotta get to this topic. I know Rob wants to talk about this. Promoter Samson Lukowicz defaulted on his winning purse bid for the mandatory fight between unified junior welterweight titleist Josh Taylor and mandatory challenger Aponin Konsong, whom Lukowicz co-promotes. Lukowicz missed Friday's IBF deadline to put up a second payment of $132,000 as per terms of the purse bid he won for $1.32 million to beat new Taylor promoter Top Rank, which bid $1.6 million. Top Rank vice president, now we know, Carl Moretti, told ESPN Top Rank is the underbidder. Now takes over control of the bout. So guys, all that concern about PBC stealing Josh Taylor's debut, Top Rank gets it back somehow, but probably just don't care about it, let's be honest, because it's Carl Moretti. Guys, thoughts on this whole plot twist of a plot twist?
And this is why, Gary, you shouldn't go to purse bids. Just if you need an extension to not go to purse bids, this is why. Oh my! Why even bid on it if you can't fucking follow through with the money? What did Samson say? Like, he had a deal in place, but that fell through. Yeah. You can't. I don't know.
He was expecting certain money to probably be there in the account that next month wasn't there.
Yeah, ridiculous. So they haven't got the fight. They're $132,000 in the hole. And I believe, didn't Bob say he's looking to work with either Eddie Hearn and DAZN, Sky, or Frank Warren on BT to put this fight on in the UK? But yeah, crazy. ESPN bailed out twice now on people not being able to put the money down. So you can show up, bid anything, it doesn't matter because ESPN I don't know, it seems a little strange to me that
we should totally just go bid on shit and just default.
I was gonna say, you need a promoter's license, but let's get a promoter's license. You know, let's do that, and then let's just win like a huge fight. And then when they ask,
I can't wait to see the ESPN report
per se, but you know,
just to see Dan Raphael to say, and also for people's attention, Mixed Combat Radio
LLC
bid $27.79 for the fight. Who came up a valiant last in the purse bid?
It's $350.
like this isn't unique to boxing or anything. Like people, you know, prepare to buy things, make offer to buy things. If you work in the real estate market, you know this for sure. Yeah, I'll buy that house. Oh, I can't get anything per se.
Or just construction, period. I mean, there's bidding on deals and contracts all the time in construction.
You don't necessarily need a promoter's license, do you?
Yeah,
aren't just people coming from? Who was it? Were they a promotional? I can't remember the fight.
Well, remember, Rock Nation's bid on behalf of Lovejoy.
Oh, maybe.
It was still Lovejoy Promotions, though. It was still a promotional company.
Because there was the Bulgaria one that.
Oh, that's the Hiri Fury and the Pulev one.
Yeah, I can't. Were they a promotional company? I don't know. Or did someone? I don't know. I don't want to say. But yeah, I just felt like anyone's welcome at the table, right? I guess.
I was talking to the guy from the WBO, and this was right before I went to purse bids for Munguia and Hulk Hogan. And he said, yeah, that license can come to the table. That's what I was told.
Wait, can you repeat that? Sorry, Rob. Sorry, Rob was talking.
I done my what you gonna do, brother?
And you cut out there, Gary. So repeat that. Sorry.
What I was told from the guy from the WBO, this is just literally an elevator conversation, was that anyone with a promoter's license is open and they can bid. Anyone can go, right? But in order to bid on it, you have to have a promoter's license.
Like media, I could be there in attendance, obviously, because
why they don't publicize where they are, because Matt could be there.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason we know about like weigh-ins and stuff like that is because it's state commission events, and that's public information. So the public has to know, otherwise it would be illegal. But otherwise, if it wasn't state regulation, we wouldn't know about weigh-ins. Trust me, we wouldn't know about any of that shit. Where it's at, where it's located.
Weigh-ins are a little different, especially for big fights, because don't you think they want you get to interact with the fighters and the teams? Don't you think that's a ticket seller or no?
A ticket seller?
No, you don't think so?
Dude, you're tripping. Most weigh-ins are free.
No. A ticket seller to the fight. Like I went to the weigh-in. No. Yeah, most are free. That's not what I'm saying. It sells tickets. People will buy tickets to the fight because of the weigh-in. No.
And I'll be honest. The only time that ever happens is if you get a scuffle mid-weigh-in. That's the only time a weigh-in actually promotes a fight. Otherwise, no one gives a flying rat's ass about a weigh-in. Especially that like on the fence fan or casual fan. No, they don't give a shit about weigh-in. Now, a altercation, a scuffle, yeah, have a camera there to publicize that. Your own camera in-house. That's what they would do, right? But if there was no state regulation at all involved in the weigh-ins, I guarantee you the promoters would not allow media or fans there. Guaranteed. Because then they can control what happens at the weigh-in. They can control what doesn't get leaked out from the weigh-in. Could
you imagine what would go on at weigh-ins? Like,
if it wasn't a public event where like it would be illegal if we didn't know where it was at, yes, I would. So much shit would go down. So much shit already goes down at weigh-ins. Where people try to like mess with the towel or mess with the scale, try to do the little lean thing on their coach. No, that's not gonna fly.
It's like the the WBC 30-day check, the 14-day, and the apparently it is basically we need a picture of the scale. So that could be anyone's fucking toes hanging over the thing. You can have a guy behind you lifting you up till you weigh something like you should, as long as that display number says like whatever they're looking for. Fucking, it's all right, meaningful trying to do this. And then you wonder why that guy came in on the Bob Arum card fucking 11 pounds over when he was bang on weight at the 7-day check, and the 14-day he was perfect. And then it was people were like, holy shit, Thanksgiving happened. Like it was crazy.
No, homie was behind him, lifting him up by the shoulders.
Yeah, he's like, oh look, he's bang on. Brilliant. We got to fight. Day of the weigh-in. Get this guy, kick him out the hotel.
Speaking of being overweight, though, to switch topics up, our own Gary spoke to Mr. One-Time Keith Thurman over in Biloxi, Mississippi. And Keith Thurman has something interesting to say. Quote, when asked about, not quote, when asked about his next fight, quote, soon, I got to lose the weight first. I just weighed myself 192 pounds, highest I have ever been. Holy shit.
That's fucking illegal.
Oh my God.
Let's go, Okoli. Get that name on your record.
I am like, dude, he's a cruiserweight right now, man. This is not 40. This is 50 pounds overweight. Oh my God. We can't talk about,
Let's not be hyperbolic.
we can't talk about Keith Thurman in any fight right now. He's 192 pounds. Like, this is bad.
He'll be back. He's just got to lose the weight.
But that's 50 fucking pounds, man. Like, that's
yeah. Let's get in that gym.
That's 25% of his body weight right now that he has to lose.
The ponytail's got to go for a start, right? That's just make you feel a bit better.
Yeah, you didn't think about it that way, but it's 25% of his weight that he now needs to lose. That's unhealthy.
Yeah, I lost 30 pounds when I went keto quick, right? But I was fat, like, you know, and it was like, wow, holy, that is insane.
Because let's be honest, like, Keith Thurman's probably a healthy walking around at like 160, probably, right?
Yeah.
And he has to, like, you know, maybe cut like 5 to 8 pounds of fat and then cut the water weight for the weigh-in. But 192 pounds, that's another 30 fucking pounds on top of that natural weight that he's probably at walking around that he has to cut. He's fat right now.
Did he have Andy Ruiz's sombrero by any chance?
He had a diet.
Did he have weights in his pockets?
It's funny because we were talking about dieting, right? It came up that I had epilepsy, and then I was like, it was like keto. And then, like, he was talking about his diet. It's like, I don't know how, like, because I saw him, and I was like, you're looking big. Like, they always say Spence is big. You look as big as Spence in between fights. And it was like, I might not look it, but I'm heavier than Spence. And then that's how the conversation came up. And, like,
I may not look it, but I'm actually 192 right now.
Heaviest I've ever been. He got up to almost 190 when he fought Josecito. But he said, then it was just like he had to just go to LA Fitness and just spend hours and hours out of the training camp. Was basically doing cardio. He said that's why he didn't feel so sharp, because it was just trying to get the weight down. So he said before he goes to training camp, now he has to get the weight down first, because he's not going to go to camp at 192. You know,
Yeah, it's not a boxing camp; it's a fat camp.
Oh my God,
192.
But I mean, he's from what it sounded like. It's like, okay, camp would be 8 weeks, and then I can get the weight down in 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's 6 months away from fight. From what it sounded like, they were gunning for the summer. June, July, August was when he's going to be back, and he's going to fight twice. So, and he said he didn't want a tune-up fight. He wasn't going to fight at any tune-up. He wanted.
No, he should. No, Keith. No, Keith. Take a tune-up. You're losing 50 fucking pounds to make a fight. And not only that, you have a layoff now because you fought twice early last year, and you didn't fight all the second half of 2019. You're not going to fight all the first half of 2020. You're having a year off.
He's injured. He's got a broken stomach.
Like,
he's
I'll
broken
be honest
his belly.
here, you know me, Gary. And this is weird because I feel like we've switched here where you're now more of a Keith Thurman fan than I am.
Yeah, right.
Talk to him and you're like,
where's the old Gary the caller that used to shit on Thurman at every opportunity?
But I'll be honest here. I'm kind of concerned about Keith Thurman's long-term, not health per se. That's maybe a side topic, but like viability as an elite boxer, because you can't balloon up and down like this. You physically can't do that. And he's done it now numerous times. And when he does do it, he's inconsistent in his performances. So how am I going to expect a consistent Keith Thurman performance going forward when he's inconsistent out of camp? And I'm a Keith Thurman fan. I got a fucking shirt of his. Like, I've met the guy countless times. I've interviewed him countless times.
That must be really big on you now.
But, like, holy shit, like, I can't pick him to beat a Lipinets in the summertime. Why would I pick him to beat that guy? You're 192 pounds, Thurman. I can't pick you to beat a diet right now. Okay, you're losing to fucking Sugar. What makes me think that you're gonna beat an actual boxer in the ring when you lose to fucking Glucose, my dog? No, that's just not gonna happen. Gary, I mean, maybe you're more positive now than I am because you talked to me, such a nice guy, but I'm really hesitant about Keith Thurman in 2020 and what he's gonna look like.
Again, right? You say it's 25% of his body weight. I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, wait a second, it is. It really is.
It's actually more than 25%, but that's by the point.
I get why you guys like him. Like he is like I've talked to I've talked to a lot of professional athletes. He's the coolest, most down to earth one I've ever talked to.
Yeah.
And like you talk to boxers, it's usually about one thing, right? Boxing. Like he had so many interesting things. Like he was a really cool guy to talk to. And this is me saying that.
Keith Thurman needs a podcast.
Yeah. But
Can we get 4 windows on here? Can we get...
Thurman just smoking weed, playing the flute.
I would say, like, has Keith
that bastard
ever showed up to a fight not ready to fight since we've seen him on TV, which is probably 6, 7, 8 years now? Has he ever come and look like, oh man, that guy?
Well, to use his own words, the Lopez fight.
But he almost got him out in the 3rd round. I mean, he was dominating that fight for 6 rounds.
he almost nearly got knocked out as well.
Yeah, but he almost got knocked out against Josito Lopez.
Twice in the 6th and the 7th and 8th round.
And
big ass chin.
Now, obviously, he looked far better against the Pacquiao in the Pacquiao fight because he didn't balloon up in between fight, right? He was more consistent in his camp and out of camp. So if Thurman's consistent, he's a top 5 welterweight. He is. But if he's not consistent, he is far more susceptible to taking an L to top 10 and 15 guys. That's probably my point that I want to maybe clarify here. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Thurman's a bum now, but Thurman losing to a guy like Virgil Ortiz, Lipinets, Ugas, that's realistic when Thurman's 192 pounds and trying to cut that weight before a camp.
Is he a top 20 cruiserweight right now?
He beats Lawrence Okolie, that's for damn sure.
No way. Get out.
He does. I would pick a 192-pound Keith Thurman off the street right now against Lawrence Okolie.
You're bugging.
I'm not bugging. That's just the God honest truth.
Nah.
I can't wait for Glocki to beat his ass for you to stop bringing up Lawrence Okolie on this show.
I'm always going to bring up Lawrence Okolie. Because then he'll move up to heavyweight.
It was like the Usyk knockout against Bellew, man. Like it was so nice. You just all of a sudden became quiet.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
But Gary, Rob, any other thoughts on Keith Thurman, 192 pounds?
No, I'll just.
Who do you want to see him fight next in his first fight back?
I wanted to address that.
What name?
He said that they were thinking about in August or in the summer, about the same time they're talking about bringing Spence back.
No. Why would
he carries on this trajectory?
Hold on, Gary. As a fan of boxing, would you want to see Spence and Keith Thurman coming off a 192-pound weight cut and Earl Spence off of that car crash?
It wouldn't be the perfect timing for the fight, but at least we're gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it's not.
Nope. It's an in-house fight. It's a PBC fight. That's not like we don't even need to think about. Oh, like, at least we're getting it. No, they're all happening. All those fights are happening. Happen in due course. Happen when they are their best 100%. I want to see a Spence Thurman fight when they are 100% and when Thurman's coming off a win.
That fight ain't happening.
Who do I want to see him fight next, or who do I think he'll fight next?
Both, if you want.
Who do I want to see him fight next? Virgil Ortiz, because now would be the time to fight him. Who do I think he's going to fight next?
It's nasty.
Flipping it to Ugas.
Rob?
If he carries on this trajectory, he's on course to meet Andy Ruiz in June, where Andy Ruiz wants to be back in June. But his actual proper weight, yeah, I don't mind. I wonder if it might be like a Porter or something like that.
You guys are thinking way too high. Omar Figueroa Jr. Perfect name for Keith Thurman next. Who else? Amir Khan. I would love a Keith Thurman Amir Khan fight.
Stop it.
Or Keith
Come on.
Why? Well, why? He needs a tune-up. He's 192 pounds.
Who's the winner of Delorme and Jamal James is who he should fight?
I'm okay with that. Kell Brook. He's fine this weekend. Keith Thurman versus Kell Brook.
What? Wait, 170?
Hey, honestly speaking, hey, if they want to make that a 154-pound fight, and that'd be like Thurman's fight to get back to 147 pounds, I'm okay with that. That might be smart, to be honest. But yeah, those are fights I would want to see him fight next. I don't want to see him fight like a top 5 guy or a top 6 guy. I have no interest in Thurman against one of those guys right now.
It would be prime for the pick into Virgil Ortiz fight. Like, let's do that.
I still pick Thurman against Virgil Ortiz. Moving on. Where are we at?
I'll go Virgil Ortiz.
Oh, let's talk about this. Keith Thurman talking about Terence Crawford on Sirius XM with Ak and Barack. I thought this was funny.
Here to him, which in my opinion, I don't know this to be true, but yourself, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, those guys have yet to not to fight guys on the divide over the divided line yet. Like Al hasn't.
There's one guy. There's one guy. You want us to cross for one?
No. All right, let me.
That's a good
No.
point. I never thought of it that
I'm
way.
going to respond. I'm
That is a good point.
going to respond to that, Keith. First off, whether you agree with it or not, this one guy has been considered the top pound for pound fighter in the world on many.
Is a made up.
I got you. But I'm almost finished. He's been considered that on many lists. But is it not true that Al Haymon fighters do not have promotional deals or network deals like Terence Crawford? He has a network deal with ESPN and Top Rank, so he can't move. But you guys are more, or you guys can fight on other networks easier because you have one fight deals with networks. You don't have long-term deals with promoters and network. Is that a fact?
Okay, so a lot of us are more flexible than Terence Crawford. Okay, and like I just said, you want us to focus on one guy. It's not my fault that I can fight Sean, Danny, Pacquiao, and Errol Spence, and if I freaking feel like it, there's Mikey Garcia,
Ugas,
and Adrian Broner. There's Ugas. There's so right. Just to go get one check.
But it's not about a check. It's about legacy.
Which, if you really know boxing, a lot of people call it the WB no.
No, it's
you want to talk about the WBO. It's the WB no.
All right. What about
nobody wants it?
Guys, thoughts on Keith Thurman's statements about Terence Crawford? I think there's some truth to what he's saying. Because, I mean, we've been on this show telling Terence Crawford that he could probably go over to Fox for one fight with Danny Garcia. And likewise, we've also said that you can, if you're PBC, you can send Danny Garcia or Sean Porter over to ESPN to make that fight or have a co-network fight. Like, this isn't impossible. Or the idea that we have to have one guy sent over is even not really the topic of conversation here. Like, we can have co-network fights here moving forward to a degree. But guys, thoughts on Keith Thurman's thoughts about Terence Crawford and the fact that it's just one guy over there and PBC has all these guys. Therefore, it's kind of, he's implying the onus is on Terence Crawford to come over to their side to make the fights, not the other way around, because they're all over there and he's over there.
I just think it's ironic that Keith Thurman seems to think he's more flexible than Terence Crawford right now. The in shape permanently, Terence Crawford over the 192 pound.
Not literally, not flexible. From a
I know, but it was funny when I said it. Yeah, I don't know. The boutless Keith Thurman doesn't want the WB no. Apparently nobody wants it, but I don't know. It's Akabarak kind of made the point. Like, you guys aren't tied to network deals. You can go and make a big fight with Crawford, whereas Crawford is kind of network bound as such. So I don't know. I think Terence is in a rough position right now. He's either got to offer a lot of money, but this is similar to like the Charlo thing. This is similar to I think the Andy Ruiz situation with Dillian Whyte, that the assets aren't going to other networks to help that other network make good fights.
And just to clarify your point, I agree with you. The important assets, like the key.
Yeah,
asset.
yeah, like well,
Like,
yeah. When I
there's a
call them an asset, I deem the other ones not kind of like assets. If
There's a reason Brian Castano is going over to DAZN to fight Shera and not Jamal
Charlo for Andrade. Yeah, because Charlo Andrade is a big fight, and if that fight happens, we don't want it on your network. We want people to watch it here. So that's how I see it. So no one big name, unless the money is unbelievable and it's too good to turn down. None of those guys are going over to ESPN to fight Terence Crawford, in my opinion. And it's not that they're afraid. It's not that they're, ducking as such. It's just, Al Heyman's he's got a responsibility to his network. So
it's network wars. Like that's purely what it is. I think you put it very well, Rob, that these the important assets will not be sent. There's a reason Terence Crawford will not be sent over to Fox.
The only cases will be a Joshua fight or a Canelo fight. Where those guys are allowed to go, because if you're an advisor to a client, good luck explaining. No, you can't go over there for the $15 million payday. Why not? Well, we don't want them looking good on their end. Well, how about my bank balance looking good? Al, advise me.
Gary, thoughts on Keith Thurman's statements about Terence Crawford?
It's so frustrating that it's like in college football, different teams play on different networks in different conferences, but they still schedule it because the money's too great not to, right? Like Texas scheduled to play LSU. Texas before that scheduled to play USC. We're talking about the biggest money makers in college football saying, hey, you know what? We can make a lot of money on our own, but if we put it all together, we can make even more. So Texas doesn't play in the same conference as USC, but let's try to make that game anyway. And then we'll play it next year. So we'll do a home and home, and whoever has the home that's the network it telecast on. Like, why is it so easy to do in college football? Well, look, USC can make millions playing whoever they want, but I can make even more if I play Texas. Let's play Texas, right? Like, why can't this just happen? The Terence Crawford. Well, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I got an answer for you. It's the NCAA, right? That you have a overarching national body that is running college sports. You don't like the ABC is the closest we have to a national body in America that governs boxing. Let's be honest here. The ABC, the American Boxing Commissions, or the Association of Boxing Commissions, they are a joke in terms of the ABC having power, right? You know that, Gary. Like, whenever they have a meeting with all the commission heads, nothing really gets resolved. If anything, we actually have splintering of rule sets between states when that happens. So, Gary, I'm 100% with you in the idea that we can get to a point where that reality of college football, where different conferences, different money makers in terms of teams play each other because they will make more money doing that. That will happen in boxing, but it needs certain things to change. The status quo of the industry right now will always mean that this happens, that we don't get these fights. We don't get these money-making fights, these cross-promotional fights, these cross-network fights, because there's no incentive, there's no drive, there's no mechanism to force these things to happen. While in college football, there is. While in other sports like football or American football or basketball, there are centralized bodies that are given a monopoly of force to control the sport. And then they are government regulated. That's how it's run. Boxing is not that way. It's this haphazard system where all these fiefdoms of control with overlapping areas of control. We have state commissions. You have individual sanctioning bodies, individual promoters, networks, etc., all vying for jurisdiction and power and control of the industry. So there's no monopoly of force from any single body here to force the best fights. And that's why we will get a Keith Thurman saying, hey, we don't have to do this. We can sit here and make our fights and we're good. There's no one making us do this. And he's right. But you are right, Gary, that we can get to a point where we have a national body that forces this shit through. Or even more amazing, an international body which forces fights through. Wouldn't that be amazing? I ranted there for a second, Gary. Sorry, I hijacked your point. I apologize.
No, that was pretty good. I mean, that was where...
And it wasn't a second either.
Rob, do you have somewhere to go? Are you tired?
Yeah. I'm gonna jump off.
Did you talk about? Yeah. Good seeing you, Rob.
Oh, cheers, Gary. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, share the show, all that good stuff. Catch you later.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.
Gary, let's wrap up the show. Let's finish it up. We have a lot to get to still. George Kambosos Jr., right? George Kambosos Jr. and Lee Selby have reached terms for an IBF title eliminator. The fight is not scheduled yet in terms of time and place, but they avoided purse bid and they've reached deals and terms. Gary, thoughts on this IBF title eliminator?
This is it for Selby, right? Like, he's got to win this fight. If he doesn't, it's over, right? So, and Kambosos is no pushover. So this is a good fight. I've always been a closet Selby fan, so I want to see Selby win, and I want to know that he has something left. And we're gonna get all those answers on this fight. So I like it, and I guess they're doing it in the UK.
The thought process is a UK fight, but I don't think that's been official yet.
It's tough, right? Because you saw what happened to Pacquiao when he went over to Australia. Those guys have to do that all the time. Like it's rough.
I think it's a great fight. I think Kambosos is one of those guys that is making the right step ups in terms of competition level. You know, fighting the Mickey Bays and now the Lee Selbys of the world, then that's the right step up for him. And plus, if he wins this fight, he's now in a position to fight for Teofimo Lopez's title. So obviously, he's now fighting Lomachenko. So he'll be lined up to fight the winner of that fight. And I'm all in favor of that. I mean, I think George Kambosos is one of those guys that's been a sneaky dark horse prospect in the lightweight division. And honestly, has a better win over a top 20 name like Mickey Bay comparative to guys like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, who don't have that name, in my opinion, in the lightweight division. And also, like you said, it is sort of a crossroads fight for Lee Selby. If he wins this one, he's back in the title fight with the Lomachenko most likely or a Teofimo Lopez. If he's not, I mean, the conversation then really starts becoming how much does Lee Selby have in the tank, because he has been looking suspect as of late. Gary, any other thoughts on Kambosos and Selby? No? All right.
No, yeah, go ahead. Let's go to the next topic.
Let's talk about some nasty-ass topics, Gary, unfortunately. Video surfaced of Gervonta Davis assaulting his baby mother in Miami at some local event. And look, I'm not going to play the video because it's nasty, but the video has been going viral, so you probably have seen it already. Gervonta Davis needs to, at the very least, issue a actual public apology, not the bullshit apology he posted on IG and then deleted all of his IG posts and Twitter posts as well. He does also, I think, probably needs to go to anger management. Probably needs to take some courses and classes on, women's rights, on violence towards women, and how that has affected women as a whole in society. And God knows what sort of legal ramifications his baby mother might pursue against him, because the dude literally picked her up by the throat and assaulted her in front of everyone, and no one did a goddamn thing. Shame on everyone there, and obviously especially shame on Gervonta Davis for literally assaulting a woman. Gary, any thoughts on Gervonta Davis being nasty?
I didn't even click on the video. I didn't even see the video. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, you filled it in pretty well, right? Like, I don't need to see it now. I didn't even realize they had public footage of it.
Yes.
Okay, I mean,
yeah, he literally picks her up by the throat and then kind of like drags her out of the auditorium.
Look, I was gonna say, he shouldn't have responded the way that he did, but let the facts come out. I guess the facts did come out, right? Like, no, that's.
And you just need to look, like, I'm not here to crucify people, and like we have several topics in the next few topics to talk about that are just nasty. But look, if you do something wrong, apologize. Like, own up to it. And then have the self-awareness to say, like, oh, you know what? Maybe like I'm wrong for thinking like that's okay. And then actively work towards fixing that. That's all I want. If you don't do that, that's when like cancel culture becomes a topic of conversation, in my opinion. When we start talking about, should we really be featuring you on TV anymore? Should we be discussing Gervonta Davis on this show anymore? Should we be promoting him? Should we be talking about him? Whatever it may be. That's when that conversation needs to happen, is when Gervonta Davis doesn't own up to his mistakes, or anybody doesn't own up to their mistakes that are in this way, so egregious. And let's be honest, like boxing is sports are so forgiving. Like if Gervonta Davis did what I said, public apology, like actively tried to bring his own awareness level up on violence towards women and how that affects people and society. I mean, there are simple courses he can take either in college, community college, or wherever that he is wealthy enough, he can just go and take. Okay. And that could be a PR stunt for fuck's sake. Go take community service, work at a women's house, like work at a women's halfway house. Go do stuff that actually is like good. Like just putting out a post like, oh, I would never hit her, blah, blah, blah. And then deleting all your social media isn't enough. You're hiding. And that's nasty. And speaking of nasty behavior, I want to run through these topics, Gary, if you don't mind. Mikey Garcia decided to get all homophobic after the Super Bowl and write on his friend the F word homophobic slur. And then when somebody asks LMAO, all the soft people about to attack you, he responded, "Welcome to 2020, shrug emoji." He has later deleted this post because obviously he realized, oh, fuck, I just said a homophobic slur on social media and it's 2020. I really hope Eddie Hearn and Joe Murkowski and DAZN respond to this. And knowing when they don't, I hope PBC and Fox respond to it when they make the Pacquiao Mike Garcia fight in the summer. Just being honest. And just for last nasty topic, Dillian Whyte saying that Andy Ruiz is a fake Mexican, that he's more Mexican than him. It's just nasty. Like, I hate that sort of shit, especially when Andy Ruiz, for those who don't know, like, there was a lot of bigoted fucking fans when Andy Ruiz won the belts, wanted to say he wasn't the first Mexican champion at heavyweight. And for Dillian Whyte to then egg that on and say he's a fake Mexican, I'm the real Mexican, is nasty. I know he didn't probably mean it that way. He didn't really have that framing in mind, but that's how I'm looking at it. So nasty all around. Gary, any thoughts on these nasty ass topics before we get to better topics?
What Dillian Whyte said, I don't think his intentions were, you know what I'm saying? It was more heart than him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all he, but you're right. What had happened in the past with and people say Ruiz is a Mexican, or like, I get it, but like, I don't think Dillian Whyte had nasty intentions when he said that.
Yeah, that's why I said that. I don't think Dillian Whyte had that framing in mind, but when that has happened, it unfortunately will take on that framing by default, even if you don't mean it. And like, look, my quick point about this, because like I know we have some stupid ass backwards archaic people in the comment section saying like, oh no, like it's boxers, let them talk shit. I'm okay with boxers talking shit, but there's a common level of decency that you don't need to cross. And sometimes fighters cross that. And guess what? It's okay for someone like me to say, hey, guess what, fighter? Using a homophobic slur or calling someone a fake Mexican when they've been accused of that in the past by bigoted fans, maybe that's crossing a line. Maybe you can get your point across, Mikey, shitting on the 49ers, or Dillian Whyte shitting on Andy Ruiz, by not doing that. And guess what? If you want to do that, like if you then hear that criticism and then double down on it, a la like Mikey Garcia did, obviously, then that just shows what's in your heart as a human being. And I'm not looking for boxers to be role models. That's not what this topic conversation is. It's just people. If Gary used a homophobic slur, I wouldn't have Gary on my show anymore. If Gary was like, Rob, you're a fake Brit, and like was really like xenophobic about it, guess what? He wouldn't be on the show anymore. If my plumber wanted to use a homophobic slur, guess what? I'm not using that plumber again. Like, that's just how life works, people. Like, it's 2020. There are norms and customs of society. If you pass those norms and customs and go taboo, you're going to get criticism. You're going to get pushback. Like, I'm sorry. And for like the most egregious cases like Gervonta Davis, when you're abusing women, guess what? Legal ramifications might follow. And that's life. Welcome to life. Welcome to society. You have to live in it. Get used to it. Gary, I know I'm ranting here.
I agree with that, especially with the Gervonta Davis. I've always been a Gervonta Davis supporter. Like I've said, what has he ever done? It's really that's so bad, right? Like he smacked the guy in his gym once. Okay, I mean, this kind of crosses that line now. Like, I can't defend this, obviously.
No, yeah.
So, and the other thing I would add is, like, also when we talk about the lines don't cross, like when David Benavidez was talking about Terence Crawford's wife or girlfriend, baby, whatever. I think it's his wife. I don't know, but
Jose Benavidez, not David.
Jose Benavidez, yeah. Women and wife, women, children. That's off limits. Let's not do that. That's also in the realm of untouchable.
You get them body slamming each other in the background over there.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, I do, but I have an idea of what's going on, but I'm just going to ignore it. Yeah.
Come over there in Gary's family room. The people's elbow coming down on her little brother. Let's get to some more boxing topics. Eddie Hearn. This isn't nasty, so to speak, but it is kind of funny and nasty, so it's a slight way. Eddie Hearn saying, I just couldn't sign Joe Miller after stone cold cheating. And he's now in a Twitter argument with media people pointing out, hey, you do realize that half of the heavyweights on your card in Saudi Arabia all popped for PDs at one point or another. And Eddie tried to weasel his way out of that one. He can't, because it's right. Maurice Walk, Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin, all have top 30 before. And we're all on one card for Eddie Hearn. Sorry. And then he also had, he tried to say that Joe Miller was under suspension. He wasn't. He was done with his WBA suspension, just like Povetkin was done with his WBC suspension when he got picked up by Eddie Hearn. So it's funny, the framing, the short-term memory of promoters, and obviously, the double standard that there is in the industry. Gary, thoughts on Eddie Hearn saying, I just couldn't sign Joe Miller after stone cold cheating?
I mean, it's like, don't administer a purity test that you can't pass. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. We can just move on. It's so funny. Charlie Edwards returning in April, and surprisingly, a free agent. Gary, thoughts on Charlie Edwards returning in April and also being a free agent?
He wants to stay away from Martinez for sure. Like, where do I have to sign to not fight that guy again? Is the return at 15 for sure? Is he trying to do 12?
Yeah. No, 15. 15 still.
So you think it's PBC, or do you think he's going to stay with Matchroom?
If he's smart, he would stay with Matchroom, right? Because Matchroom has more names at 115. Right? I mean, they have Estrada, they have Rungsvi, they have Yaffe, they have Gonzalez to a degree with Roman Gonzalez. Excuse me. I would say with Matchroom. It would make no sense. If he's at 118, then it becomes more of a topic conversation.
That should,
where if it is a PBC or Top Rank, because those seem to have more of a monopoly on 118. But 115, that's a Matchroom division through and through. The only other guys that are outside that are Nkajas, really, I would say.
Yeah.
Everyone else is Matchroom, and then Roman Gonzalez, who's with Taken Promotions, and I think he will work with Matchroom, no problem. In my opinion, he's working with Matchroom right now with the Yaffe fight. So if I'm Edwards, I stick with Matchroom. Maybe you use this to sort of try to get more money in your next deal, I guess. Maybe that's what this is, fighting out your contract to get more money in your next deal, which maybe he is deserving of. It's just hard to do that coming off a loss. It just is, historically speaking.
It was like that, because it was a beatdown. It wasn't like Gaddy Ward where it's like, okay, everyone's stock goes up, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that was bad. Like, that loss was not good.
Agreed. Let's run through these last few topics of bullshit fights. Joseph Parker is scheduled to fight on the Mikey Garcia Jesse Vargas card against Shondell Winters.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I have no idea who that is. No idea. Apparently he beat some prospect named Alexander Teslenko. Again.
Who the fuck is that guy?
So I just don't care about this fight at all. It makes no sense. What a waste of Joseph Parker's career right now. Murat Gassiev is also fighting on that card at heavyweight, but not against Joseph Parker, against Jerry Forrest. Do you know who Jerry Forrest is? I don't. No? Cool. Also, Israel Madrimov is going to be on the card. Fantastic. A bunch of bullshit fights on that card. And Joette Gonzalez, Lamont Roach, and Marlon Esparza triple header March 19th for Golden Boy on DAZN. Obviously, they're not fighting each other. different divisions, and obviously Marlon Esparza is a woman, not a man. But that's going to be the triple header. I think the fights have not been fully official. I think one of them has. Gonzalez is facing Chris Avalos, but I don't think Lamont Roach's fight is announced or Marlon Esparza's fight is announced yet. Gary, thoughts on that? Any of these last topics, the last couple, Joseph Parker fight, the Murat Garcia fight, or the Jarrett Gonzalez, Lamont Roach, and Marlon Esparza triple header?
What will this do for you if Gonzalez beats Avalos? Does that have any luster for you? Was that like, because I think the guy is good.
No, if you beat Avalos, you show that you're a top 25 guy, top 20-ish guy. And I don't think he's that now.
Are you picking Avalos?
No. I'm picking Gonzalez probably. But he still needs to beat Avalos for him to be ranked in that like number 20 in the division.
Agreed.
You know, and good to see Lamont Roach back and Marlon Esparza back, because I mean we talked about it in a second earlier on the show, like that Esparza Estrada fight. What a great women's fight! That cut that Marlon Esparza had on her forehead. I mean, Gary, do you remember that cut? That thing was. I've never seen anything like that in my life. She got scalped in front of us. But Gary, as I know you're about to go run down and tell your kids to stop fighting each other, that's going to be actually it for the show. So we're going to run out of here. I know this is recorded, so obviously hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sorry we could not give you guys a live show. Apologies. Blame YouTube. I mean, we tried. I scheduled 3 different YouTube shows. None of it was working. And everything else was working. So it was just YouTube's fault. I apologize. But it is what it is. Technical issues. Be back Wednesday to preview and break down all of the weekend's action. No show tomorrow, but show Wednesday. Previewing obviously the Gary Russell fight, the Kell Brook fight, all that fun stuff, and news of the day. Also be on the lookout for me and Anthony Walker doing a show that's covering UFC 247, John Jones versus Dominic Reyes, also this weekend. So that's going to come up soon as well. But other than that, that's it for the show, guys. Hit the like button, all that fun stuff. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. And find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. Gary.
Sorry about the little interruption.
Don't worry about it, man.
Find me on all forms of social media at 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. Good show today. It's good to be back. Let's get into from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.
Peace.